Welcome back to a winning edition of the Blue Review. Clint Yates, Greg Bergman, Blue Review, always presented by Los Angeles International Airport, where changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. Clint Yates, Gavin Stone, not a great start, but still good enough? Not good enough?
Good enough in the context that he's got a team behind him that can get him back in a game like that in terms of their ability to score runs. But four-piece in the opening inning, pressed into action, as we talked about yesterday, and he looked like it. He looked like a kid in his second big league start. He looked like somebody that the Atlanta Braves were not afraid of in terms of plate approaches, and it showed. He settled down a little bit after, I think, 34 pitches in the first whatever inning, whatever it was. He had about the same amount for the next three, so that evened itself out. But that's kind of the problem, is that for a big league game, if you're giving up runs early, especially if you're in a postseason situation, that's not going to help you. And so I'm happy that the kid got it back together and found his form, but the Braves jumped all over them early. And then all of a sudden, the bats woke up. JD Martinez has the game of his life, easily his best game of the year, certainly his best, since coming back from the DL. And he was bombing the ball, like to the point where every time he hit it, you thought he might get a homer. And then the last one up, he did. And you're like, oh, all right, well, it's clearly his night. Freddie Freeman returning to Atlanta, obviously a big deal. Got another home run. I had almost forgotten about how much controversy was around it when they went back to
last year.
Yes, and that almost derailed the season in a lot of people's minds because there was so much question about the leadership ability of Freeman, considering his mind was still on his old team. That's obviously behind everybody. They got back in the game. They won the game. I thought it was a tremendous performance to pick up the kid, Gavin, from the veteran leadership in the lineup.
Sure. And so let's get a couple things in there, but I'm going to start with Gavin Stone. So Gavin, yes, second big league start. It's another chance for him to kind of get in there. He obviously had that nerves that was still going because he hasn't pitched in the big leagues for, I don't know.
On the road this time too. Was at home last time. Yeah.
And against one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, one of the most consistent teams in Major League Baseball. So that's definitely a tough spot. And to go in there and to settle down after that tough first inning means a lot. And now, what does he got to do now? Oh, just go to Tampa Bay and with the best team in baseball this year, right, and on the road again over the weekend. Easy stuff for the kid. But this is really going to get him going. You hope that he sees what he can figure out with some stuff on the road, get back home, pitch a little bit better, try and put himself into this rotation, especially with all the injuries. I think that would be great for him. Whether or not, I'm okay with what he did. It was a bad first inning, but he did settle down. So you got.
I wouldn't call it a bad outing, not at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
I might have called it a bad outing after inning one, in which I
yes,
when I was promoting the show yesterday on Twitter. And so
look at you.
I was like, look at this. This is a rough start, guys. But he settled down, which is, what you come to expect from a team that's got this kind of leadership. The other thing that happened was between Ronnie Acuna and Will Smith. Now, if you know Acuna, you've seen his swing. And
Marcelo Ozuna, you're talking
about.
Sorry,
Ozuna, my bad. Yeah. They rhyme. I know exactly what I'm looking at it in my mind right now. Yeah. Ozuna's got a big backswing. He comes around real heavy with the top hand and with the bottom hand, and he caught Will Smith in the head. He almost hit the umpire, by the way, which was another thing. I'm like, Jesus, this guy needs to really calm it down. And Will popped up and said, hey, man, that's like the fifth time that's happened. Cut it out.
Right.
Bench is clear. Well, bullpens opened up, shall I say.
There's a couple things here, by the way.
And yeah, I want to know your thoughts on guys walking out to the front. It's sort of like when you go on like vacation and everybody's in like, I don't know, like let's just say a cabin, and it starts to rain and all the dudes go out on the porch just to look at the sky and tell you what you can figure out by watching your TV alone.
Oh yeah, looks like the rain's coming down here. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a long weekend here in the cabin. Yeah, exactly. Really appreciate you saying that while I'm playing games inside. So yeah, I get the analogy. This is what I don't understand. Like, why are you leaving the bullpen in any sense whatsoever? Just stand there and watch. I mean, they want to be ready to run out there and then stand around in case there does a brawl does happen. I mean, like, the dude, by the time you're done running from the bullpen to the plate, it's over. Right. So like, just stay back. Nobody needs you walking out onto the field. All right. You're not doing anything.
I have two theories. Number one is that because it involved the catcher, Will Smith. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like, that was a guy where the pitchers are like, oh, hold up, we got to do this. And number two, I think when you're playing the Braves, a team you might see in the playoffs, there's an element of chestiness that just says we're not going to get ourselves in a situation where we're getting punked or overlooked by a team that we know is good and we know we're going to have to battle against. Like, it's just particularly funny because I always feel like some of the best footage we get from Major League Baseball fights is exactly that. 9 dudes
running down.
And you're just like, what's the thought process? Like, you know, what's going through your mind when you come out, when you open the gate and you decide we're going for it? Like, it's always funny, but I think it was
trying to get some cardio in. Is that what we're doing here? We're just getting a little bit of cardio and trying to say, hey, I've been stuck in this bullpen all day. Let me just get a little of my steps in.
I do think Will Smith has something to do with that, though. Like, it's your catcher, bro, and you need him. And that was the other thing. Will Smith can't be getting hit in the head all day. We've discussed this in terms of the concussion element. So there was a real concern there, I feel like, for a hot second, until you realize Will's just mad because he's tired of getting hit in the head by the same guy. You know what I mean? And he decided he wanted to say something. So
that, I mean, like, so who is that on? Because, like, as a hitter, you don't want to change your swing too much. But if you're consistently doing this, where you're saying it's been to him, you know, 4 or 5 times, plus other guys in the league are getting this too, the catcher can't, like, jump backwards in the middle of all of this. He can't go anywhere. So at some point, who is that on? Are you supposed to, as a hitter, which you were, should you change your swing?
I mean, he hit the ball. That's the thing, you know, and no, you don't have to change your swing, and catcher's interference can be called, and the advantage goes to the batter pretty much every single time. So that's just part of the game. You know what I mean? And Will's got to figure out from a safety standpoint just how close he wants to be getting up on guys so he's not getting, you know, his helmet rocked. And it's difficult, but I do think they handled it well. Like that, the thing is, if they'd gotten into an actual fight over that, that would have been worse than whatever happened. Like, okay, you got, you know, you got dinged, it goes on, but like, you certainly don't want to be coming to blows over something like that. That's a reasonably normal part of baseball. Switching gears though to tonight, another first-time big league start for the Dodgers.
Ooh, Bobby Miller getting his first big league start. That is the #1 prospect, pitching prospect for the Dodgers. They've been wanting to see what he's got for a while. I looked at some of his stuff from the minor leagues. He's been a good pitcher, but this year has been a little bit rough. It might have gotten a little bit better over the last couple of weeks, but it's been a little bit rough coming up. So I just hope he comes out there and doesn't have as much, you know, nerves as maybe Gavin Stone did or Michael Grove did on their first starts. It's going to happen. It's understandable. And again, you're playing the Braves. You're not going up against the Kansas City Royals in this outing. So it's just a little bit tough on the road against the best team in the National League.
Okay, hold on. That's 2 straight days you mentioned the Royals as the go-to terrible team in the big.
What do you
have against the Kansas City Royals?
I don't have anything against them. The problem is that I look at the standings pretty often and I see how bad they are in the division. And then I look at how well they took 2 of 3 from the Angels, so they stick into my brain. Like, oh, they're so bad, but they take 2 of 3 from the Angels. So that just means just one of those things that it connects in my brain.
Who do the hold on? I probably should have looked at it. Who do the Braves have going?
Oh, I didn't look. I would assume it's got to be somebody. Well, it was Charlie Morton last night. So, I mean, I don't know their rotation perfectly well, but I think it's Spencer Strider.
It's going to be him.
Going Strider. So you're going against their ace.
Tough spot.
Start. Yeah, it's not a great spot. For him. But look,
you know,
he battles. If he battles.
Yeah, but I feel like this is an easier hill to climb, referring to the mound, but you know, generally because you won that first game, like this was a playoff type vibe in last night's game, in my opinion. Shots back and forth, runs scored, you know, trading leads. Like this was a very good baseball game overall, and the Dodgers kind of, I don't want to say happened to get the win, but you know, JD Martinez obviously went nuts. There could be a same game tonight and the Dodgers lose it and you wouldn't be that upset. It was that back and forth of a ball game.
Absolutely. And by the way, with JD Martinez, he's been really good for the Dodgers this year. I mean, the 1-year, $10 million contract he's got has been fantastic. I have no issues, qualms whatsoever with his play. I think he's been great. He's a
leader. He's plus leadership too. Guy who's been on some championship teams, made some runs in the playoffs. So yes, that he's kind of he's one of those sneaky assumed guys. Like, oh yeah, well he's JD Martinez. Well, when you see it, it looks great, you know. And last night was one of those nights.
No, absolutely. So we're going to see what Bobby Miller does tonight versus their ace and Spencer Strider. Clinton Yates, Greg Bergman, Blue Review. Thank you very much to LAX. We'll see you tomorrow.